Hey guys, Noah from American Trucks here. We all know that the tune a stock truck comes with leaves a lot to be desired. The throttle response is always limited to prevent you from spinning the tires, timing is usually lazy, and overall, trucks just feel kind of groggy. Now with this Jet Dynamic Spectrum tuning module and Stage 1 tune, you'll be blown away by how much more enjoyable and fun your drive is with the proper throttle response, timing, and fueling. So if you're looking to spice up your 13 and newer Ram 1500, then this tuner from Jet will be a perfect choice for you. Now Jet's tuner and Stage 1 tune do boast some pretty impressive power gains, and ultimately its main feature is to wake up your truck and make it what it should have been from the factory. Now, this is meant for a completely stock or slightly modified truck, nothing built or crazy, and this will not ruin your gas mileage or drivability like some other upgrades would. Now Jet's Stage 1 tune paired with mid-grade fuel is advertised to provide gains of up to 25 horsepower, and you'll definitely feel some more low-end grunt along with the improved throttle response, of course. So as far as construction goes, this tuner has been tested extensively and it is dyno proven as well. And Jet also throws in a 2-year warranty, so you can be really confident that if anything goes wrong with your purchase, it's covered. Now it is designed to plug right into the factory harness, and it's seriously small, so it tucks nice up and out of the way. One last thing to mention is that it is CARB certified as well, which is definitely something you need to pay attention to when shopping for tunes, depending on what state you live in. Really the most surprising part is that tuners make a pretty huge difference and don't even really cost that much. This one from Jet comes in right around $300, and in all honesty, this is probably the biggest difference you can make to your truck for $300, and it is something I definitely would suggest to everybody who enjoys driving their truck. Installing this tuner on your Ram really is incredibly simple, and I'm sure any DIYer could handle it. We're looking at a super short 15-minute install and difficulty right at 1 out of 3 wrenches. That's enough for me though. Check out this video from an actual AT customer where they'll walk you through the install process step by step.
All you're gonna need is a nut driver with 8mm socket on there. And it's kind of nice to have a small extension on there as well, you'll see why. Also, just 10mm wrench. First thing we're gonna do is disconnect the negative on the battery. So we'll come over here, loosen up your battery bolt. Shouldn't take too much once you get her turned off there, and it'll just go ahead and come right off. Set that off to the side. Next up, all you gotta do is there are 3 8mm bolts that hold your ECU on here. You got one located here, one located here, one located back behind this plug here. First thing I'm gonna do, go ahead and disconnect these plugs, get them out of the way. All you do, lift up this red handle and they'll just pull right off. Second one, lift up on your handle. Like I said, it just pulls right off, and you can go ahead and work your plug off. Once you got those out of the way, you can go ahead and loosen up your bolts. Make sure not to drop it down your engine bay. Alright, this is why you need that extension, is for this bolt over here. Kind of get underneath your brake reservoir. I'm just going to leave that one a little bit tight, so I can go ahead and get this bottom one that's a little bit harder to get out. Take my extension off, socket back on. Pull this bolt out. Just get that out. Stick that through the bolt. Lastly, pull this bottom one out. Alright, that's pretty loose. Disconnect this. Small ground wire. Yeah, that's your ECU. I'm gonna take my bolts with me so I don't lose them. Alright, so we're gonna go ahead and put this on the tan plug here. You can notice that the spacing on the male end of the plug, how it's larger up here and tapers down, gets smaller towards the bottom. You can see on the interior here, it's gonna match that as far as it's gonna get tighter down towards the bottom. So we'll just rotate that over. Make sure that those are gonna line up. Okay, so once you get your locking mechanism aligned with your little round form pieces there, your slots line up with that, you go ahead and you push down nice and firm. Once you get her set on there, this clip portion here needs to be pushed up, and you got to use a good bit of force, but you'll get it to slide up in, and that locks this sliding mechanism over your pins. It's not the easiest, it definitely takes a good bit of force. So once you get that in, it's locked in and won't come off. Now we're good to go ahead and reinstall. So we'll grab our 3 8mm bolts, grab our nut driver, and we'll go ahead and put our ECU back in. So once we go ahead and get this back up, I'm just gonna take with my FAR bolt, has ground wire on here as well. So actually mounts upside down. So once you go ahead, I'm just gonna get that in place over here. I'm gonna start that there. Get our stuff lined up. Get this one, to my wire eyelet. Get it up here to get it relatively lined up. So once I'll go ahead and get that started. Alright, it's good to hold that side. Start my next one over here on the right. Get it lined up and started. So we got that started. And lastly, we'll hit our bottom one. We'll plug it out of the way down here by your master cylinder. All right, so I got them all started. Next up, take my 8mm, go ahead and start snugging these up. They're pretty snug the whole way, so. It's just aluminum cast mount, so we're not gonna go crazy. Just put my extension back on for the brake reservoir on. So let's get that nice and snugged up. Extension back off for this one. Like I said again, just not crazy. While we're using a nut driver. So we got that reinstalled, nice and tight, ground wires back on. I'm gonna start by going and putting this outer plug back in first. And it'll just slide on, nice and snug, then you'll go ahead and lock your red handle down. That'll finish locking in. So down at the bottom here, we moved this little plastic body clip earlier. We're gonna go ahead and leave that out right now until we get this lined up. So once we get it lined up, nice and easy. Pretty much the same process as before. You have your little form pieces in there, so we're gonna line those up and snug her on there, then go ahead and force your clip down, and that finished locking everything in nice and tight. So we're all good and tight there. See, now this doesn't reach now, so we're gonna go ahead and leave that out. Just make sure all your wires are clear. Yeah, we're in pretty good shape, so should be good to go ahead and put our battery terminal back on. So I'm just gonna clear off the front of the truck here. Make sure there's nothing left behind. So grab our 10mm wrench back off the cart. Go ahead and put our terminal back on. So once we got it back on, go ahead and start tightening her up. Make sure not to hit your wrench to anything metal. So just keep it clear of everything, get it snugged back on there. Same, it don't have to be insanely tight, just pretty snug. Give it a wiggle. She's solid. So with that was the install. Biggest thing was making sure that when you had your ECU off on the table, getting that pushed down tight enough that your lock would slide over your side form pieces. Once we got it on, looks pretty good. Looks like everything's in good shape. Now it's just time to fire it up and hopefully it works. So no abnormal lights or anything, warnings on in there. Everything looks good on the inside here. Just double double check, make sure you tighten everything back up. Nothing on the front of your hood or your full rest here. It looks pretty good. And that's it.
That was the Jet Performance Products Dynamic Spectrum Tuning Module and Stage 1 tune, the 2013 and newer 5.7 liter Ram 1500. For all things Ram, remember to keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.